All right, welcome back to the channel. All right, man, I had a great article, not an article, but a blast from the past sent to me by a subscriber, actually through Twitter. And I'm understanding that this was also put out by the guy Young Pharaoh, who did a lot of the what I believe is, man, excellent work related to this Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder stuff. I haven't seen all his videos, but people tell me about him, and then because I understand a lot of the situation around it. But one of the bits of information that was put out was something that was said by Eddie Cotton. If you guys are not familiar with Eddie Cotton was a judge. He judged over 250 fights, something like 200. Matter of fact, it was 283 fights over a career that was about 18 years, from 1992 to 2014. And he said in an interview that was conducted by New Media, hashtag LDBC, a guy, rest in peace, Tito Carlisle, filmed this way back in 2014. And Eddie Cotton said that Tyson Fury was the dirtiest fighter that he had ever been in the ring with, and that included Andrew Galata. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So look, man, first of all, I want to say this to people who are fans of new media channels, LDBC channels, American channels that are on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. I think also, I don't think Snapchat applies, but the channels that are really into and talking about boxing on a regular basis, who have been on top of this topic, man, because this topic of Tyson Fury has not gone away, and Tyson Fury's reputation is absolutely imploding. Now, there was a interview that was done several years ago by a guy named Tito Carlisle. Now, Tito Garcia. I can't believe we said Tito Carlisle. Tito Carlisle is somebody I work with. Tito Garcia, right? Tito Garcia he passed away, rest in peace. He passed away maybe 3 years ago, but he was similar to like Barbershop Conversations, similar to Boxing Ego, Champ Side Boxing, ES News, videographer type of channels that go to fights and interview fighters, interview judges and personalities around boxing, not the mainstream media, but the guys that are doing it here. And Tito Carlisle passed away not too long before I started this channel. And really the passing of Tito Garcia, and I never met Tito Garcia. Tito Garcia was just somebody that I watched all his videos. He was the first guy to tell me that he thought that Chocolatito was the #1 pound for pound guy in the world. So, that was around the time frame. Rest in peace for Tito Garcia. Everybody that I know that actually knew him thought he was a really great guy. He interviewed Eddie Cotton, and Eddie Cotton, after the Steve Cunningham fight. Now, Steve Cunningham fight, if you recall, was the first time Tyson Fury ever fought in the United States. And he won the fight by elbowing the top, by putting his elbow on the head, his forearm on the head of the smaller Steve Cunningham, forcing it down. And as he released his hand, punched him at the same time, which is completely illegal, and wound up knocking out Steve Cunningham on a completely illegal shot. Steve Cunningham, who was on Trail Boxing Talk maybe a week ago, testified about that, or spoke about it, and said that he went to I think it was the New York State Athletic Commission. I think that fight may have been New York, but wherever it was, he went to the boxing commission and said, look, this is an illegal punch. This is against the rules. And they came back and said that they didn't see any, they go with the boilerplate. We didn't see any violation of, so, it is what it is. Now, they also said that Nevada State Athletic Commission also said that about Tyson Fury and the Deontay Wilder fight. But me being who I am, and being in the profession that I am, writing letters like that and knowing what somebody said, I'm very particular to words. They said we did not see anything wrong. But who is the we? Was the we some special investigation? Probably not. The we is probably that if it wasn't that they are not going to override the opinion of the judge, of the referees and the people that were there on site at the time. And because nobody said it then, more than likely they're saying, well, we were there. We didn't see anything. If we had seen something, then we would have said it then, because the Nevada State Athletic Commission was in the building that night and they didn't say anything that night. But that doesn't mean they didn't see it. They're just not going to change it now that somebody complains about it. Regardless, Steve Cunningham talking in that fight, Steve Cunningham, the referee with Steve Cunningham and Tyson Fury, the referee for that fight was Eddie Cotton, and Tito Carlisle caught him coming out and asked him about, what was all that going on in the ring with the yelling between you and Tyson Fury's corner. And Eddie Cotton said, Tyson Fury is the dirtiest fighter that I have ever been in the ring with. And Tito Carlisle said, what do you mean? The dirtiest ever? He's like, the dirtiest that I've ever covered, that I've ever been in the ring with. And he said, what? Tito Carlisle asked him, said, what are you talking about? He said, headbutts, shoulders, forearms. It was like a laundry list of things that Eddie Cotton said that he had to deal with Tyson Fury doing. Like Tyson Fury went into the ring with Steve Cunningham and just started cheating from the get-go. And when he said at the end of the interview, he says, Tyson Fury is the worst I've seen, and I've been doing this for 25 years. He said, or was it 23 years? 23 years or 25 years? But it was 20 at the time. I do believe it was somewhere around, because he retired not too long after that. Was somewhere around 200, maybe 275 fights at the time. I don't think he had more than 8 fights after that, because the last fight that he had involved Felix Sturm. So it was probably 270 fights. So after 270 fights that he's had, professional fights, that means there was approximately over 500 fighters, right? Over 500 fighters that he was in the ring with. 540 fighters that he was in the ring with. Tyson Fury was the dirtiest of them all. And he said he had refereed Andrew Galata 3 times. He said, I've been in the ring with Andrew Galata 3 times. Tyson Fury is a dirtier fighter than Andrew Galata. Andrew Galata is notorious for being one of the dirtiest fighters to ever step in the ring. He is up there with Fritzy Zivik. Now, Fritzy Zivik, I don't know if you guys are familiar who Fritzy Zivik is, but Fritzy Zivik, I do believe Fritzy Zivik was the first person to ever beat Henry Armstrong, which would have put him somewhere around like 1940. But Fritzy Zivik, Andrew Galata are known. Those are guys that are known. When you talk about dirty fighters, they say, oh, name the dirtiest fighters in history. Andrew Galata and Fritzy Zivik should come up in every conversation. And then maybe Panama Lewis as, a trainer that it is notoriously as dirty as those guys. To say that that he's dirtier than Andrew Galata. This is Andrew Galata, who literally who hit Riddick Bowe with so many low blows that it was that the guy that I don't know what happened with the fight, that they just flat out disqualified him or something like that, man. But it was absolutely bananas. And I should look up just real quick. Like he fought. Look at the name of the guys that Eddie Cotton has judged, and he said Tyson Fury was dirtier than. He had Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins is one of the dirtiest fighters ever, dude. I mean, well, they don't call it dirty, but they call it, he fought he fought with Bernard Hopkins. He saw Bernard Hopkins fight, and Bernard Hopkins against Chad Dawson, by the way, was one of the more dirty cats fights that Bernard Hopkins had, because he found a way to sneak out of that. But regardless, yeah, Chris Areola, you go look at his records, man. I should try to go see who it was that. Thomas Adamak, the dude Kelly Pavlik. This guy's resume is a who's who of fighters that he is covered, man. A who's who. Fernando Vargas, Riddick Bowe, Andrew Galata. This dude is the guy that refereed Andrew Galata versus Riddick Bowe, which was probably the dirtiest fight in the history of mankind. And he said that Tyson Fury is dirtier than him. Now, what does that say? Look at all the things coming out about Tyson Fury, man. Tyson Fury did test positive for performance-enhancing drug, and now he's going to be under investigation by UCAD for having bribed somebody to falsely testify that they sold boar meat to him, to his camp, in a way to get out of a performance-enhancing drug violation with UCAD, right? He then has, in another fight against a guy named Christian Hamer, he literally had the glove taken off of his hand because it had a glove removed and had to get a new one because he had tampered, or just magically the thumb got dislodged. Then he goes through the Tyson Fury fight and you can see knuckles in his gloves. There was a guy in my comment section that says one time, man, he's like, look, man, you got to give Tyson Fury credit. This dude is one of the most versatile cheaters in the history that we have ever seen. This dude literally has now been accused of cheating almost any and every way possible that there is possible to cheat. Performance-enhancing drugs, defective gloves, wrist in the glove. Eddie Cotton, a Hall of Fame referee, says he's dirtier than Andrew Galata. Besides the glove in the Deontay Wilder fight, wrenching his head, rabbit punching him behind the head, man. Like, dude, this guy's reputation as a gentleman boxer is absolutely positively gone. Okay? There's no way you can rehabilitate this, man. You think Eddie Cotton, and by the way, this is recorded, right? This violation was recorded 6 years before the Deontay Wilder fight. So do you think maybe Tito Carlisle and Eddie Cotton were conspiring against Deontay Wilder 6 years ago? Man, get out of here, man. It's a disgrace, man. It's a disgrace. And for these guys in boxing to defend this type of foolishness, man, it's just on a whole nother level, man. It's got to stop. Anyway, it is what it is. RIP to Tito Carlisle. And with that, I'm out. Peace.